Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. So today I just thought it would be a good idea to reorganize all of my bookshelves, and I've acquired I think around 50 new books that need new homes. I'm gonna find places for them on this bookshelf, my other bookshelf, and a few other places where I can store books. But yeah, this is gonna be that journey, and I hope that you'll enjoy. Alright, welcome back. So today is the next day. So I'm gonna start on this bookshelf behind me right here, and I'll bring you along on the journey with me. And I'm gonna try to fit whatever books I think can fit on here reasonably without overwhelming these shelves. I'm going to try on this shelf first and find these books all a new home because they have been without a home for like 2 months. So follow me along as I do this. So I think it's gonna be a little tricky to figure out exactly how to set up the shelf because it is organized by color right now, and I would like it to stay that way. So I don't have my books right now organized by color, the ones that need to go on the shelf. I only have them organized by genre. So I think I'm gonna sort by color first and then see what colors fit here. But then I'm gonna have to reorganize them by genre because my other bookshelf is organized by genre. Alright, so now I have them all organized by color, and I'll kind of pan through. So these are all of the stacks that I have. So over here I have my yellow stack, as you can kind of see. Next to it I have my pink stack of books. So I'm organizing them by the color on their spines, not necessarily the cover on the front cover, because I think that by spine is easier, and that's how I have my bookshelf organized. And then next to the pink books I have this red stack right here, as you can see. Light over so you can see a little bit better. But yeah, these are my pink stack books. These are my red books over here. And next to the red books, I actually have the purple books. So I think Cold Hearted Rake is a little bit like pinkish purple, so I didn't really know where to put that, but I put it with my purple books right here. And then next to that, I have ones that are like my green books. I know the Paris apartment text on that is like pinkish purple, but the outside of it looks kind of green to me. And this long stack right here is blue books. And I didn't realize how many books have blue on the spine. I know on my main bookcase, I don't have a very big shelf dedicated to blue books, but I used to have the whole shelf full, and I have so many more that now have these blue spines. This stack right here has black spines, and then that stack back there, you can't really see it very well. Let me try to focus. And that book as well are all like paler white spines, so they're like white or cream. And yeah, that's just kind of the general overview of all of the books organized by color. So I think a lot of the black books will probably end up not in this main bookcase because I already have a lot of black books on this bookcase. I might have 1 or 2 spaces open already on my shelf, and I will try to fill that in with some of the brown books next to it. And I forgot to show you, but these actually don't fit with any color scheme specifically, so they're just by themselves because they have a lot of different colors on the spine. And then the ones next to it are gray books. And also a lot of the blue books are gonna end up not on this shelf. So anything blue, anything white, anything like that I have a lot of colors of it either on my shelf or they're just more neutral tones will end up mostly in the other room. But I'm gonna try to make some space for these yellow books, some of the pink, and some of the purple because my bookshelf could use some more color over here. So I'm gonna try to fit some of those. And I know I have some space on my green bookshelf as well, but I might try to add some more pink to that because as you can see here, there's only a little bit of pink in that and there's not a lot of it. So I'll probably try to fill it up mostly with pink books if I can. So yeah, that's kind of the general overview. And then I'm gonna actually start putting some of the books on this bookshelf. Don't want to overwhelm it, like I said, because it is a little bit fragile. It's not the sturdiest of bookshelves, but I will work on this one and I'll show you kind of my process of organizing it. And then for the books that don't end up on the bookshelf, I will organize these by genre. All right, so now I'm gonna put some of the books on this bookshelf behind me and you'll see a little bit of a time lapse of that, but I'm gonna get started and working on that. so I pretty much finished organizing these bottom shelves, or this whole bookcase actually, but I'll start with showing you the bottom shelves. So these two shelves down here kind of stayed the same with a lot of things. I didn't change a lot of the books on this bookshelf because I like a lot of them that are there already, but I added Fairest on one end, which is purple, and then I also added Air by Sabata here, as you can see it right over there, so I wanted it on this shelf. I also added back The Great Alone and The Hero of Ages from the Mistborn saga, so I added a few books to this one, expanded the little orange section there so it had a little bit more color. And then down here I have it still as my classic shelf, so I added in my copy of Aladdin and the Arabian Nights, and we have all of my other classics that you've already seen there, all over there. And then back there I had my Outlander collection, and that hasn't changed, they're still to the front, but I double stacked there, so I have some books behind it. So those are just some classics that aren't special editions or anything like that, and some historical romance, some mysteries, just some random books are back there to fill up the space back there. And then I put these more towards the front, so it doesn't really change the aesthetic of the shelf, but I think it just adds more storage there. Alright, so this next shelf is blue and purple books. So on this end is blue, and then on the other end is purple, and it kind of goes up to the next shelf as well where we have the blue and purple books. But here I also didn't change too much. This shelf is one of my like fragile shelves. I don't know what happened to it, but she can collapse very easily, so I don't want to put too many books on it. So I have a space here on the left for Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone, which I'm currently reading. And then I added Husbands and Lovers to this shelf. All of these other books have been here before. Legendborn, Spin the Dawn, Chain of Iron, all of these were on here before. I added Sunrise on the Reaping, which I just bought, and it's right there on the shelf. And then I added Mistborn and one other purple book to the shelf, but I think this one had the least amount of changes. So moving on up to this shelf, we have some of my pink, green, and blue books. This one is very much rainbow here. So to the left, I kind of expanded the pink section. I added in First Time Caller, Annie Bot, Secretly Yours, All the Men I've Loved Again. So I added all these titles to this section. The green section, I don't think I added too much to it. I only added The Lost Library, I think, right there, which is a middle grade book. And then to the right with the blue covers, I didn't really change anything over there. All right, and then we have my like orange and pink and red shelf there. So I didn't change too much on this one either. I added in a copy of Jilted by Vi Keeland. I added in also a couple of books, I think, in the red section right here. So I added in The Knife of Never Letting Go, but I didn't change too much on this one, and it doesn't have a lot of books on it because this one's also pretty delicate. The reason why the shelf below it has so many books on it, but this one has less, is because the bottom shelf is a fixed shelf. So this one is fixed, you can't move it. This one is adjustable, and because it's adjustable, it's a little more fragile, but the fixed shelf can take a little more weight, so it's full. So yeah, that one didn't really change that much either. All right, and then taking in my top shelf, I'm gonna be a little quick with this one, but I made a few changes up here. I took out some books and put in some different ones. I added in Bringing Down the Duke, Part of Your World, and Just for the Summer. I added in The Paris Library, Transcendent Kingdom, Palm Meridian, Alice's Reality Check. I added in a bunch of different titles. This one is just kind of miscellaneous books because you never really see it in my videos. It's really high off the ground, and I'm literally like holding up my light to be able to show you this with proper lighting. But yeah, this one changed a little bit, but not too much. And overall, I think my bookshelf changed just a bit, but not a ton, or not as much as I expected, I guess. But I really like how it looks now. I took out a couple of nonfiction books, or just books that didn't have like really interesting looking spines, and now it's got a lot of books that I really care about and cherish here, or books that I'm really excited to read. So I'm glad that I've organized it this way, and I have some more books on my bottom shelf, so I also maximize my space a little bit better there. All right, so those are all of the books that kind of fit on my main bookcase. Sorry for the weird angle here. I'm going to organize some more books in just a second, but I'm going to reorganize all these books, and now I'm going to reorganize these by genre, because all the books that go back in my other bookshelf in the other room are going to be organized by genre within that shelf, and I have a few empty spots in there. And then I also have some extra space like on my dresser that's like a whole shelf that's open for books, so I'm going to put some books on there. But I'm going to organize all those by genre. I only want my main bookcase to be organized by color, so let's jump into that. right, so it took me a lot less time to organize these now because there's a lot fewer books on this bed, even though it doesn't really look it. It looks like there's still a lot of books on here, but I got these organized. So these 4 stacks right here are historical romances, and this stack over here is fantasy. That book is a dystopian book, but it's not gonna stay on this shelf anymore. And then this stack over here is thrillers. That's regular historical fiction. And then back there is just like some contemporary and memoir, and that one is romances. So I have these all organized by genre, and it's time to take them over to the other room to get them put away. All right, so now we're in my bedroom, and this is a different spot from where I usually film. Please ignore the mess if you see it in the background, but I have all the books here set up. So I have historical romances together, some more historical romances over there, and they're all here just waiting to go back on the shelf. So I'm going to show you this shelf and flip around. All right, so some of the books will be going on this shelf. As you can see, there is some space up here, and those books over there are ones that I'm considering unhauling. But yeah, I have 3 shelves here that I can organize through, and I have some empty space on that bottom shelf, and I have a little bit of space on that top shelf, so I will definitely be putting books here first, and then if not, I'll put them on my dresser shelf next to me. All right, so I think I'm gonna start with this top shelf here, and then this middle shelf is already pretty full. I might see if I can fit 1 or 2 more fantasies on this shelf because there's a couple books on here that are not fantasy, so I want it to be entirely fantasy now, and maybe I'll add in like Divergent here because it's a dystopian, and then this shelf up here is all like thriller, other romances, things like that, so I'll add to this shelf first. Alright, so this is basically the next shelf space that I have to work with. This is my dresser. I used to have all these decorations up here, down here, but I consolidated to have more space for my books. And so I'll be putting in some books on here. I'm gonna also try to do this by genre, just like the other shelf that I showed you. And so I'll start putting them in, and there's really not a lot of space between my bed and this dresser, so it's a little hard to navigate around, but I'll definitely do my best, and I'll show you how I set this one up. Alright, so this was very difficult to set up, so sorry about the angle here, but I think I'm gonna start with my remaining like fantasy books on this section. Like children's books, I took them off of the other bookcase behind me, and I'm gonna put them over here because I only have a few of them, so it made sense to have them all together. Alright, so all my children's books are now in. Yes, it keeps falling because I don't have anything holding it up now, but I'm gonna go in. I have one contemporary book that I think I'm gonna put on top because the cover is all ripped off, so I'm gonna put it right over here over the fantasies. And then I'm gonna go in with my historical romance for the rest of the shelf. So this is basically what this shelf kind of looks like now. It's got all my fantasies over here. These are my like children's books right here. And this is all of my contemporary romances over here. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And then I have one contemporary book on top because that book just is missing its cover, so I didn't want it facing out. And then at that end, I have a spare copy of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I'm going to be unhauling. And yeah, I have that kind of set up. And I'm gonna also put some other decorations in front of this. I have a little like book book holder that I use to help me read my books that I'm gonna put in front of this. But I'm pretty much all set up now, so this is what this shelf looks like. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you've enjoyed seeing my bookshelf reorganization video here, and I'm so glad that all my books have new homes. So I filmed the book haul for all these books yesterday, so I just decided that it was time to organize them today because they've just been without a home in my bookshelves since I've gotten these books. So it's been about 2 months that I've had books just kind of lying around. But if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Any of those things would be absolutely appreciated. And thank you so much to every one of you that watches my videos, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you for the next one. Bye!